Hello YouTube and welcome to another Bucket List Gamers mini review. I am Jay and this time I am joined by Eddie.
Hello!
Had to change it up slightly because I've been whoring myself out and doing videos with other people recently, so not always with Eddie anymore. But yeah, Eddie is back after his little holiday, so hopefully fully refreshed and not quite as miserable as we were before you went. But we'll see. And in this episode we are looking at, as you can probably tell by this point, a game called Pyromania, which is by SebiMed Games, both developed and published by them. And it's described as an action-packed horde survival game. So strategy and movement are key to surviving the ever-growing horde of zombies, wild animals and other monsters. It can be played in either solo or online co-op with up to 4 players. So we've just had a quick play of this, haven't we? And first impressions?
Given that it's cribbing off existing game styles, I actually kind of like the art for it.
Yeah.
It's isometric, but detailed isometric. It's not just blocky, here you go, here's this shitty pixel art, put up with it. The fire effects we both commented were incredibly nice for what is essentially an isometric game. But yeah, I can see how the gameplay is addictive.
I think the title screen sets the stage for it, doesn't it? Because the title screen is gorgeous. It's like a crimson stained glass wolf, which is the character you play as. I mean, you're not crimson in the game. I don't know if that's like a power up or something, but your character is the wolf that's on the title screen, and it just looks amazing. Like, we went in and said straight away, it looks really professional. There are bits that give it away as like an indie title. I think the like menu pop-up boxes and stuff have that indie feel. I don't know how else to describe it, but do you know what I mean? Like that, the style of the pop-up boxes and stuff maybe doesn't feel as polished as it would in like a AAA game. It's still as functional, but it's not as jazzy, is it, essentially? Like if you play Vampire Survivors, the pop-up boxes you get on there just look a little bit more polished, but they still work. It's not a problem. That's the only time I looked at it and sort of thought, oh, I'm playing an indie game. The way the graphics are and stuff, I think is very polished. Some of the enemies probably need a little bit of work to make them a bit more unique to the game. But other than that, I think it looks great and it plays really responsively. It's a little bit... So I mentioned Vampire Survivors. That is probably the game you'd liken it most to in terms of you're fighting the undead. You've got an open-ish area that you can wander around and you're constantly running away from them, trying to pick them off. You're always outnumbered. The difference with this one is that you don't auto-fire. So on Vampire Survivors, you're constantly getting weapon upgrades that trigger on their own after a cooldown. So your main goal is to just keep moving around and get in the right positions. On this one, you've got a bit more autonomy. You're in control of where you aim your fire burst with the mouse. So it's not just a case of run away constantly. You sort of have to be in control of your aiming. And you'd be surprised how difficult that is to adapt to, having played Vampire Survivors for quite a while recently, to then switch to having both hands having to do something and think about it was actually a bit tricky. And I mean, I didn't last long, did I, when we just played it? I'm hoping in the gameplay footage that's playing now I've survived a little bit longer, but it's quite a tricky one.
Yeah, the thing that struck me while you were playing it as well, when you kept nipping back into your home base, is it reminded me of an isometric Dark Souls. Just from the home base perspective, in that you go out, you explore the wider world outside, and it's not necessarily that you meet the characters while you're out there and then you speak to them and then they go back to your home base. You just hit like an arbitrary cap and it pops that individual into the home base. But it's like the Firelink Shrine, Medulla from Dark Souls 1, 2, that you can nip back and there'll be some person that you've not spoken to before that'll do something for you. They'll either give you a quest, there's the bloke in there from the start that gives you, upgrades your items or sort of cleanses them, basically, so you can use them properly. The rest of the game is just not Dark Souls at all. But it was that particular bit that was like, oh, this is very Soulsy in terms of my home base, this place where I can come back to rest and take a break from the action, I've got a new person that I can go and speak to now.
Yeah, this is the thing we were saying, weren't we? So it's to explain the gameplay, which you probably can see and make it out for yourself, but you go out into the wider world, and when you first start off, you're in a very small, confined area with a single enemy spawner, and you essentially running around trees, avoiding them to try and pick them all off. Once you hit like 2,000 gold, I think it is, you can unlock the next area of the map, which is much bigger. Also has an enemy spawner in it, so then you can. The benefit is you've got a lot more space. The downside is you can then get flanked because they can come from 2 or 3 different areas. And then at the end of each wave, you get the option to carry on, or you get the option to go back to your base, as Eddie's just mentioned. And we couldn't figure out what the benefit of carrying on is and why you wouldn't go back to your base every time, because you go back to your base and A, there might be a person there that you can get a quest from. B, you can have these items sort of cleansed or purified, I can't remember the terminology, to make them useful. C, you get your health refilled. So there doesn't seem to be a benefit unless you get more money the longer you stay out there or something. That's the only thing I can think of, is that maybe you accrue more gold if you're doing sequential waves. Because when you go back out into the world, all the doorways you've opened are still unlocked, and you return on the next wave, don't you? So it's not like you have to do all the basic waves again, or they get overly hard or anything like that. They're just, I'm wondering if it is just that your gold maybe multiplies or something. It doesn't make that clear, but I personally always go back to the base because you can get the chance to meet someone or unlock something, or at least refill your health.
Yeah, to your point, it may be that your multiplier resets when you go back in, so if you just keep fighting subsequent waves and subsequent enemies, it may just up your gold intake incrementally. The one disadvantage, I suppose, to going back, not that it's much of a disadvantage really, to going back to your base and then starting out, is that you start back at the top of the map.
The entrance, yeah.
Which is a lot more of a confined area, but to your point, everything else is opened up anyway. However, if you know that there is an area on the map that you want to get to unlock next, because you suspect there's something good there, you've then got to traipse right back across the map.
Yeah.
So as the map keeps expanding outwards, it may get to a point where you're like, Jesus Christ, it's going to take me 10 minutes to... because the walking speed isn't particularly pacey, so it may take you a while whilst dodging enemies that are getting increasingly difficult. I mean, we got to wave 3 in what we've just played, 3 or 4, and there were bats which were on a par with your movement speed, so that outpacing them's already a challenge. And then there's the things that spit fireballs at you. So not only are you having to sort of dodge and weave around a shambling, increasingly large shambling horde of zombies, you're also having to dodge like bullet hell sort of thing, which I'm assuming only ramps up over time. And if you're trying to navigate back to a place while keeping your eye on the mini-map, to remember where the next thing to unlock, I'm assuming that is a downside to going back to the base. But I'm assuming at a certain point, you become that powerful, you don't necessarily need to go back, and you can just keep playing on and on.
I think my only criticism of it is that, and it's not a criticism, it's just something that I think could be developed out to be a little bit better, is when you defeat a wave, you get almost immediately, you get a pop-up that says carry on to the next wave or go back to your base, and you get like a 10-second timer to decide. I would like it if you could wander around the area without any enemies in it, because the thing we found was to unlock the new doors, you have to have the gold requirement, don't you? But then you also have to go up to them and press the action button. And when you're running around already trying to avoid enemies and shoot fire at them and everything else, taking your finger off the directional buttons to hit the action button, as simple as it may sound, can sometimes cost you a couple of hits, because you lose that second of running away from things doing that. So it would be nice if at the end of a round you had enough gold, you could go and unlock a door, and maybe unlocking it triggers the next round, that's fine. But I'd like the option of I can go and unlock that wall in peace without something coming and attacking me, and then I can move on to the next round. So that, for me, if SebiMed Games are listening, for me that's the only thing I'd like. I'd like a bit of free reign in that open area before I initiate the next wave or go back to the base, I suppose. But other than that, really fun, really nice take on an existing game that I enjoy. And as we noticed at the end when we died, you can incrementally upgrade your stats as well at the end of each run. So it isn't a rogue. We always struggle with this, don't we? It isn't a rogue like, I think, as in you lose all progress and just start again when you die. There is a little bit of you can upgrade your attack, you can upgrade this, that, and the other, and that carries through into the next run. Everything else resets. All the people that are in your sanctuary disappear, all your collectibles go, your gold goes, but you do get these little incremental improvements that I really think feed into that let's have another go thing, because I've died, but I've just upped my attack by 1, so maybe that's going to help me get further next time. It's already out, so it came out on the 13th of December, and I would say give it a go. It's £3.39, so it is no money at all to get it. I think there's definitely £3.50 worth of enjoyment in it. They released a patch on the 20th of December. I have no idea if they're going to carry on developing it. I would think they are, because there seems like there's a lot of places this could go. There's more unlockables or that kind of thing you could get. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it. And the 4-player co-op as well. I imagine that's incredibly fun. We've not been able to experience that because we've only got one key. But yeah, I imagine the 4-player co-op is really fun as well, and probably a bit chaotic, I would expect.
I was going to say utter carnage as well.
Definitely recommend. You don't need an overly spec'd out PC to play it either. So yeah, from us, definite recommend on that one. Like I say, £3.39. Even if you only play it for 2 or 3 hours, you've got your money's worth, haven't you? There, and I think there's loads more than that in it. And yeah, just to see the little stained glass window at the beginning, it's probably worth it. There is a couple of screenshots of multiplayer, and it does, as you've just suggested, look like absolute carnage, but fun at the same time.
Yeah.
Pyromania, go and check it out. SebiMed Games, thank you very much for giving us a key. Really enjoyed playing it, and we will carry on playing it as well. But until next time, I will say that is goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
Wave start.